long last, we've been able to try Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition and meet up in Bellabel Park in an exclusive hands-on event. Finally experiencing the expanded version of the acclaimed 2D platformer that landed on Nintendo Switch back in 2023. And honestly, we didn't really know what to expect from this new multiplayer-focused edition, but the end result actually surprised us in the best way. We got to spend a good while exploring Bellabel Park, the brand new Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive content, testing all of its competitive and co-op modes alongside other players. And what initially looked like a simple expansion ended up being the perfect excuse to head back to the Flower Kingdom, with fresh mechanics that push the game's possibilities in ways we genuinely didn't see coming. So up next, we're going to be telling you our impressions of everything we got to play in Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition and meet up in Bellabel Park. Bellabel Park comes with several modes designed to be enjoyed with others, and the co-op ones were our first stop. One of them stood out in particular thanks to how it takes advantage of Nintendo Switch 2's capabilities. So two players control the characters in the traditional way, moving through the level, defeating enemies, and interacting with the environment. Meanwhile, two more players focus on building platforms by placing blocks to help the team progress. This is where the Joy-Con 2 mouse mode comes into play, letting the builders move a cursor across the screen and place the blocks precisely. It's a really curious idea, and even if using mouse mode can feel a little bit forced at times, it ends up being more fun than it sounds on paper. You have to coordinate constantly. The players pushing forward rely on their teammates to place platforms properly and vice versa. It's a small communication exercise that works especially well if you're playing with people in the same room, though you'll also be able to play online and using the console's game share function. The other co-op mode revolves around a golden bomb that you have to escort from the start of the stage to the end. But the bomb has a timer that drops quickly. But here's the trick. If you pass it to a teammate, the countdown stops for a few seconds. When it starts again, it's time to pass it to another player to buy a little more time. The goal is to reach a cannon at the end of the level before it explodes, and toss it inside so it gets launched. Simple, but effective. Now this mode felt like a genuinely great example of co-op done right, because it's not enough for everyone to just push ahead on their own. You have to keep an eye on the others, coordinate the passes, and manage the timing well. It's frantic without becoming chaotic, depending, of course, on the players, and it has an extra bit of tension that keeps things exciting. Overall, these co-op modes are pretty reminiscent of the mission challenges in New Super Mario Bros. U on Wii U. Straightforward ideas, standalone stages without a story mode behind them, but genuinely fun for quick sessions with friends. We like them, although what comes next won us over even more. Now, if we found the co-op modes entertaining, the competitive ones completely won us over. This is where Bellabel Park really shows its best side, with original ideas that bring back mechanics from the original game and twist them into small-scale multiplayer battles packed with chaos and fun. We tried two race modes that play with the physics in very different ways. In one, the characters cling to bouncing balls that constantly rebound, and the goal is to reach the finish line first by mastering those unpredictable jumps while dodging obstacles. In the other, the core mechanic changes completely. Players hang on to a flower that works kind of like a parachute, floating through the stage with much smoother control, but still just as tricky to truly master. Both modes are all about two-dimensional physics, colliding and ricocheting off elements in the environment. That said, there's no direct interaction between the players. Everyone else just appears as ghosts, so no shoving, no sabotaging. You're competing against the stage and the clock. Even more interesting though was the mode where you have to grab a baby Yoshi and feed it berries scattered across the level. Here, you do actually have direct competition for resources, cause whoever gets their Yoshi to gulp down the most fruit wins. It's easy to understand, but surprisingly addictive, especially when multiple players are going for the same berry and you gotta decide in a split second whether to risk it or go get another one. But hands down, our favorite was a kind of tag mode starring Phanto, the iconic flying mask from Super Mario Bros. 2. Some players wear the mask and have to chase down the ones who don't. Meanwhile, the hunted players can hide and blend in with stage elements like clouds or flowers to stay unnoticed. When the round ends, whoever's wearing the mask loses. It creates some genuinely hilarious moments with constant tension and just enough strategy to make it feel like a bit more than simple tag. Overall, we like the competitive modes more than the co-op ones. There's more real interaction, the mechanics feel more original, and every match plays a little bit differently. If Bellabel Park has a main event, this is it. A Mario game built to play together. After our session with Bellabel Park, it's clear this expansion is designed primarily for multiplayer. Nintendo did confirm there will be single-player content that we weren't able to try this time, but the heart of Meetup in Bellabel Park is very clearly in playing alongside others. And in that arena, what we saw convinced us. The thing that's most interesting is that Nintendo's leaning into a kind of experience that it doesn't usually explore with its bigger productions. You know, quick modes, simple but effective ideas, short matches that make you want to play one more. It's an approach that feels closer to the indie hits that took off on Nintendo Switch. Those couch multiplayer games that work so well precisely because of their simplicity. Getting to see that spirit applied to the Super Mario universe is refreshing, and above all, really fun. The key is that the gameplay foundation is still Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and that's already an excellent starting point. Controls remain just as smooth and intuitive, badges still add variety, even in multiplayer modes, and the physics from the original game adapt surprisingly well to these new competitive and cooperative ideas. I mean, they certainly didn't invent the wheel, but they didn't really need to. They took what already worked and pushed it into new territory. We still don't really know how far the content of this expansion will go, or how many modes the final version will include. But if Nintendo makes the most of the possibilities, reuses mechanics from the base game, and brings back ideas that may not have made it into the original development, Bellabel Park could become a really valuable addition. The potential is there, and what we played is pointing in the right direction. For now though, we've liked what we've seen. Of course, we want to spend more hours with it, dig deep into every mode, and find out whether this expansion manages to make Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition an even more complete package than the original already was. In the meantime, don't miss these awesome Super Mario Bros. Wonder videos we're leaving here. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next ones. Thanks for watching. See you next time.